Welcome to Tampa Home Talk with your host, native Tampa real estate girl, Katrina Madewell, a full-time, passionate, out-of-the-box thinker, love for home ownership kind of realtor with over 21 years of combined mortgage and real estate experience. Tune in every week at this time for expert advice on everything you need to know about home ownership, finance, maintaining great credit, building wealth, and making your everyday life better, and how you can be financially successful today and tomorrow. Remember, love where you live or let Katrina fix it. Now, here's your host of Tampa Home Talk, Katrina Madewell.
Hey, good afternoon. This is your host, Katrina Madewell, and you're listening to Tampa Home Talk on the Tan Talk Radio Network as well as Starcom. Welcome to the show today. Even if you're picking us up on one of our other networks outside of Tampa Bay, you're going to want to stick around and listen in for today's show. We have, as every week, a fantastic show lined up for you. Our speaker today and our guest on Tampa Home Talk, not only is he in the Hall of Fame business achiever, international keynote speaker, and world-renowned success coach, hip-hop recording artist, and just #1 book-selling author. He has an amazing history, which started the whole spinoff and beginning of his book. He actually died at the age of 20. He was hit head-on by a drunk driver going 70 miles an hour, and he was actually dead for 6 whole minutes. He broke 11 bones, suffered permanent brain damage, and was told he would never, ever walk again. And this man, actually, not only does he walk again, but he is an ultra marathon runner. And so for our guest today in our show, I couldn't be more pleased to announce Mr. Hal Elrod. Welcome to the show, Hal.
Thank you so much. I'm excited, Katrina. This is going to be fun.
So you are the author of The Morning Miracle, which is your best known book that people know you for. You've got another one that I know of under your belt. And the title for today's show is going to be how to, get up early and change your life. That's kind of like the theme and the premise of today's whole show.
I love it. Well, I'm right up my alley.
Now, did I miss anything with your intro when I announced you? Is there anything else you want to add on to like who you are and your past experience and what brought you kind of fast forwarded to today?
Yeah, I think that that saying everything happens for a reason. I think most people either they believe that or some don't. But I think that we think of it the wrong way, in my opinion. And it's just my opinion. But everything happens for a reason. I think most people. They face adversity, right? We all face adversity in our lives, and we go through and kind of banging our head against the proverbial wall and like going, why did this happen to me? I'm a good person. I don't deserve this. Or gosh, I wanted it to be different. It shouldn't have been this way. This is right. Whatever it is. And what I found to be really helpful for me, and hopefully it's helpful for your listeners, is the perspective that everything does happen for a reason, but not the way that we've been conditioned to think, where we have to go figure out what the reason is. Everything happens for a reason, but it's our responsibility to decide the reason. We get to choose it. We have to choose it. And we can choose reasons that either discourage us and disempower us, or we can always choose reasons that strengthen us and that fuel us to triumph over tragedy and turn adversity into an advantage and all of the above. So, yeah, I encourage listeners that whatever your adversity that you might be going through in your life, look for an empowering reason. What can you learn from it? Can you become a better version of yourself by overcoming it? That sort of thing. So I don't know if that's helpful, but hopefully.
Yes. I so believe that, how I think everything happens for a reason. So, good, bad, indifferent, financial, disastrous, regardless of what it is, there's always a takeaway from that. Always.
Always, yeah.
And I've read your book. It's been a while. It has been a while, and I really was hoping to have time to, brush up on it before I had you on air today. But it's been, that kind of a crazy, hectic life, as I know you can totally relate to. But speaking of which, so can you dive into the book and give people little bits and nuggets and pieces? Because we'll talk about your lifesavers, but before we get ahead of that, so you were hit by the drunk driver. You were essentially dead. Yeah. And how long was it before you started? What happened between that time and?
So I was clinically dead for 6 minutes. What happened is I got hit by the drunk driver. I broke 11 bones because I spun off the drunk driver and a second car crashed into my door at 70 miles an hour. And most of the injuries weren't even from the drunk driver. I had, the airbag and the safety belt to kind of protect me from the head-on collision. But then I spun off the drunk driver, and the car that was behind me, my car just spun in front of them to where my driver's side door was facing them. And according to the driver, they really didn't have time to even brake. They just crashed at 70 miles an hour into my door. Which, there's probably 4 inches between the left side of my body and that door. And so it completely crushed the left side of my body. My femur broke in half. My pelvis broke in 3 places. I broke my arm in half, shattered my elbow, severed the nerve in my forearm, punctured my lung, ruptured my spleen, almost completely lost my ear. My eye socket was crushed, and to the point of it being rebuilt in metal. I actually have 3 titanium plates in my eye socket.
Wow.
And Katrina, don't ask me how you get hit you get hit at 80 or 70 miles an hour so bad that it destroys the bones in your eye, so bad that they have to be rebuilt in metal, but my eyeball was completely intact.
And you lived. And you lived from that experience.
Yeah, and so I was in a coma for six days, dead for 6 minutes, coma for 6 days. And when I came out of the coma, the doctors had told my parents that I'd probably never walk again, and I had suffered permanent brain damage from the head-on collision. And I took my first steps 3 weeks after the crash, 2 weeks after I came out of the coma, and just kind of defied the logic of doctors, and then got out of the hospital 7 weeks from the date of the crash, and got back to work with Cutco, and went on to become one of the youngest members ever to achieve Hall of Fame with that company. Despite all these, again, I could have chosen reasons that said, "Oh, my life's never going to be the same, and this isn't fair, and I didn't deserve this."
Yes.
But and I think where people have a challenge with that, Katrina, is that they have a hard time distinguishing blame from responsibility, and they kind of blur the line.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, the moment we take responsibility for everything in our life is the moment that we can change anything in our life, right? The moment that we stop blaming the government and we just find a way to, no matter what the influences beyond our control, whatever they are, whether it's government or taxation or whatever, our family or where we live, we find a way. We take responsibility for our success, and that's where I think blame determines who's at fault, which really doesn't matter very much. You know what I mean? People put so much energy into who's at fault and angry and on and on. And it's like, look, the drunk driver was at fault for the accident, but me talking or thinking about or dwelling on that didn't do much for me going where I wanted to go.
Right.
And that where I think the distinction is that blame determines who's at fault, but responsibility determines who's committed to improving a situation, and that's what you really should focus on.
Well, you can point all day long, but the bottom line is, if you're in something life-changing like what you experienced, you can say, woe is me, and have this pity party for the rest of your life and blame the drunk driver. Or you can kind of take the bull by the horns and start walking 3 weeks later like you did. I mean, we had a friend of ours that experienced something kind of similar. He was headed to Bike Week in Daytona. So he was on a motorcycle, actually got hit by a car, got thrown from the motorcycle, and then got run over again by a car, and then they actually backed over him again to get off of him. And they told him he would never walk again too, and everybody just knew his determination, and they know how he is. And, it was like the running jokes. They're bringing the little walker in all decked out like a motorcycle, just their little sick sense of humor. But, this guy's like, he's racing again. He's racing motorcycles, and he just won another race that he entered. And it's interesting to see that, I think a lot of it starts with thought. Would you agree?
Starts with thought?
Thought, yeah.
Everything starts with thought. You think about it. I mean, what we focus on becomes our reality. And if you focus on what's wrong in your life or in your in any given situation or in a relationship, right, you feel bad. If you focus on what's right and what you have to be grateful for, or what you have to look forward to, or what's possible, you feel good. You feel inspired. You feel empowered. And focus or thought, whichever you want to call it, I mean, it literally is everything. In fact, there's a great book called Man's Search for Meaning, and the author of that, Viktor Frankl, was in a Nazi concentration camp. Didn't know if he'd ever see his wife and child again. He was watching his friends die, be killed and tortured every day, and he decided, what? If this is my last, who knows how many days or hours on earth, I'm going to be the happiest I've ever been before in my life. And his famous quote from that book is that the last of man's freedoms is to choose our attitude in any given set of circumstances. So there is no, well, of course I'm upset. Look at what's happening in my life, or look at how I'm being treated. You being upset has nothing to do with what's going on around you, and everything to do with what's going on inside of you.
Right. I mean, well, what you think about, you talk about. What you talk about, you bring about. So whether that's positive or negative, the choice is yours.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Now, the whole premise, like a lot of the things around when you start off the morning miracle, and if I'm missing anything, by all means, back me up. But should I dive into the lifesavers at this point?
If you're up for it, I'm happy to take a couple of minutes and just share kind of where the Miracle Morning came from and why it even came into existence.
Yes, please do. I would love to hear that.
Yeah, so the way that I usually explain this is that in my life I've had two rock bottoms. And a rock bottom is something that we've all had before, and we're probably going to have again, which is any time in our life where we experience a challenge or a set of circumstances that's beyond what we've ever had to deal with before, and we often question our ability and our resolve. You know, can I handle this? I don't know if I can. And and sometimes we were tempted to give up. And so my first rock bottom was the car accident, naturally, and my second rock bottom was 8 or 9 years later, and it was surprisingly worse than the first. And when I share that, I usually get funny looks like, "What? You died? You know, like what? You died for 6 minutes? What's worse than that?" And people are, did you die for like 8 minutes the second time, or what happened? No, but I mean it very sincerely when I say it was much more difficult for me. And it goes back to our thinking, right? It literally was difficult because mentally I made it harder for me. And it was when the U.S. economy crashed, 2008. The U.S. economy crashes. At that time, my life was going great before it crashed. So I had left my my company. I hit Hall of Fame with Cutco, decided to move on to pursue my dreams of being an author, a speaker, and a coach. So I'd written my first book. It became a bestseller, Taking Life Head On. I had started being, paid to speak, which was like a dream come true. And I had launched a coaching business, which I had right around 6 figures. So that was bringing me a 6-figure income. I had just bought my first brand new house, and I had bought my dream car. So, that was like life was good. And now, by the way, I always kind of knock on wood because, the first time I got in my car accident, life was great. I was successful, and then it crashed. Then the second time I got everything successful, and then it crashed. So I'm always knocking on wood anytime I tell the story. But
everything's perfect. You might build up this little fear of success, right?
I know. Everything is going pretty well right now. I'm really happy with things right now. So I'm kind of like, all right, be careful, be aware, right? Yeah, drive slow. So the economy crashed, and I lost over half my income. I lost my house. I put on a lot of weight. I stopped exercising completely because when I lost my income, I canceled my gym membership. And the thing is, I think it was so hard for me to deal with because, I had learned in the accident that you just accept the things you can't change and be at peace with them. And so I did that when I lost my first few clients. I'm like, all right, I just lost $2,000 in income. All right, I can barely pay my bills now, but all right, I can't change it. And that was kind of my philosophy. Well, the reason it was so hard is because then I lost a few more clients, and then I lost a few more clients, and then I lost a few more clients. And it was this down where it's like I thought I was at rock bottom, but it got worse and worse and worse. And it was like a 6-month downward spiral into a deep, deep, deep depression where I thought of suicide. I didn't want to live my life. I was so scared and hopeless, and I didn't know how to turn it around. And to keep a long story short, a friend of mine encouraged me to start exercising every day. He said, "Hal, I know you canceled your gym membership, but just go for a run every day." I said, "John, I hate running." He said, "What do you hate worse, running or your current life situation?" And I said, "All right, screw you, buddy. I'll go for a run," right? And so the next day I went for a run. And by the way, here's what he said: he said, "Look, Hal, if you're feeling down or you're depressed, or he goes, basically, bottom line is if you're not putting yourself in a peak physical, mental, and emotional state every day, you are not going to be at your best to make better decisions and improve your income and your finances, your business, your life, etc." And I said, "You got to get your blood flow and get the blood flow and the oxygen flowing every day." And he said, I would every morning go for a run or a walk or a jog and listen to some self-help. And he said, start your day by putting yourself in a peak physical, mental, and emotional state, and then intellectually stimulating yourself with ideas so that you can start to turn your life around and your business around.
And here's the thing, too. You mentioned how you were in a deep depression before that. And I've read so many books and so many things on this. It's physically impossible to be depressed when you get your heart rate up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you control your physiology, if you heart rate up, smile, exercise, you really can't feel depressed. Yeah, you can't. And so yeah, at least for those moments, I was running. Now, I'll tell you, though, my internal dialogue when I went for that run that morning was, this is such BS. Like, this is so stupid. I called John for some real advice on how to turn my business around and, get my income back up. And he tells me to go for a run.
He's telling me to go running.
This is so stupid. And I'm not kidding. It was 2 minutes into my run, I heard a single quote that changed my entire life, or I should say was a catalyst for changing my entire life faster than I ever thought possible. And it literally is responsible for the Miracle Morning. This is what was the inspiration for the Miracle Morning. And to be clear, by the way, the Miracle Morning was never supposed to be a book. It was never a book idea. It was something that I came up with this morning. And what I did is I heard this quote from Jim Rohn. I'll share it with everybody, because if it changed my life, it could change yours as well. And the quote is, "Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development." And then he actually went on to say, because success is something you attract by the person you become. And in that moment, I realized I'm not dedicating time every day to my personal development. Therefore, I'm not becoming the person that I need to be that can create and sustain the level of success that I want in my life. And I ran home with an epiphany. I thought, wait a minute, I'm going to create the most extraordinary personal development routine known to man, or at least known to me, and I'm going to try doing it every morning so that just like today, I'm starting the day in a peak physical, mental, and emotional space, but I'm going to try to create this extraordinary personal development routine because I don't want to just dabble. I want a total transformation as fast as humanly possible. I am tired of settling for mediocrity in my life. And I ran home. I came up with the Life Savers, which none of these are my own practices. This is basically me Googling an hour's worth of Google searches of, like, what do successful people do every day, daily habits of successful people, the world's best personal development practices, right? I just Googled all of these things.
So it's a lot of research and homework and experience and trial and error, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. And then, and I came with a list of 6, and I didn't know if it would work, but I thought, wait a minute, if I wake up every day, because here's the thing, by the way, and we'll use this to transition into the Lifesavers, but these Lifesavers are the 6 most well-known, most proven practices for personal development known to man, and they've been practiced for decades. Now, here's the thing about them. Many of these, in fact, really all of these, you can find some of the world's most successful people that swear by any one of these. So that was my epiphany, was, wait a minute. I know that there's a lot of the world's most successful people that say meditation has been the single most game-changing thing. In fact, I always thought of meditation as more of a spiritual practice, which although it is, if you look, like, you can Google Fortune 500 CEOs that meditate, and you'll see that, they attribute it to their success, right? Ray Dalio, the billionaire, he said meditation is the number one key to his financial success. He's a billionaire, right? Russell Simmons, founder of Def Jam Records and from Run DMC, wrote a book called Success Through Stillness, in which he states that meditation was the biggest key to his success, right? So I thought, that's just one of the 6. I thought, if successful people swear by any one of these, what if I did all of them, right? What if I didn't pick or choose what might be the best one, and I just experienced the benefits every single day of every single practice, that people attribute their success to. And so that's what gave birth to the Miracle Morning. And the next morning I woke up, I did it, which was crazy just because I wasn't a morning person. I had to wake up an hour earlier to do this. And within 2 months of doing it, my income almost tripled. I went from being in the worst shape of my life physically to training for that 52-mile ultra marathon. I had never run more than a mile, and 5 months later of doing my Miracle Morning, I ran 52 miles in one day. And maybe most importantly, my depression, my mental and emotional state that had been just in the dumps, it didn't take 2 months for that to change. It was literally, the depression was almost gone that morning, because with 1 hour after doing my Miracle Morning, I felt incredible. I felt confident, inspired, energized, motivated, And I realized, wow, if I start every day this way, it's only a matter of time before I turn everything around.
And Hal, we're gonna jump into the lifesavers and break those down a little bit after the break. But real quick before we break, this is just for the person listening that might be somebody like me. And I have to tell you, your book inspired me a little bit to maybe start doing that. Right? I would always make the running joke because I hated to run, so I'd make the joke, "Oh, I can't run. I'll get black eyes." Like it was just my quirky sense of humor. And so for the person running, and I think I remember something about this in the book, like your thought and your mental, like you're going to start, how far you're going to run. How did you push through that? And I think this part's a little later in the book, so I don't want to get too far ahead, but how did you push through that to actually make it a habit?
Well, I committed to it publicly. That's the first thing. When you commit to something, the how reveals itself. That's been a powerful lesson, right? The HOW, the how. When you commit to something, the how reveals itself. So I committed in public, hey, guys, I'm going to run an ultramarathon to raise money for charity on this date, right? And I ended up, I bought a book. This is what I would encourage you and anyone that's not a runner to do. It's called The Non-Runner's Marathon Trainer. And it literally is all about, it gives you not only a training plan that starts very easily, right? But beyond that, it actually deals with the psychology of, hey, you hate running? Great. Welcome to the club. Here's how you commit to a marathon, train for a marathon, and complete a marathon, even if you hate running. So
I love it.
It's the perfect book.
I love it. I love that thought. So stick around. We're going to have to take a really quick break. I'm getting the eyeball from Chris back there. But we'll be back in a couple minutes. We're going to dive into the lifesaver. So much fun. Stick around. Do not touch that dial. You'll regret every second of it. We'll be back in a minute.
You've heard this before. Interest rates are at all-time record lows. But if your interest rate is 4% or above, you owe it to yourself to call Silverton Mortgage Specialist. Silverton is a direct lender, and the best part about this is that the entire loan process is handled in-house. From application to close, we do it all in the same building, which means that our loans close fast and our clients know what's going on every step of the way. Our contact info is located on TampaHometalk.com under Radio Show. What makes Silverton different? Products. We offer VA, FHA, USDA, and conventional loans pricing. Best rates with the lowest closing cost. Process everything in-house. It's handled right here and not outsourced to anyone that no one can reach. This way we can avoid surprises. Our people are simply the best, and we know you'll agree. What will closing Silverton Mortgage Specialist mean to you? A smooth process, real home loan value, and personal attention from real professionals. Silverton Mortgage Specialists are here to serve you. Visit TampaHometalk.com under Radio Show for all of our contact details. NMLS 109600 is an equal housing lender and Florida and Georgia residential mortgage licensee.
Hi, this is Aaron Davis, owner of Hillsborough Title. Hillsborough Title is a local, family-owned title agency here in Tampa Bay. Our service, strength, and knowledge make us different. We've served Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Call us at 813-712-8888 or visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
You're buying a house. Congratulations. So while you're worrying about the paperwork, leave the moving part to us. We're Woody & Sons Moving Company, a Florida licensed and insured mover, and we offer same-day written estimates. Plus, no sneaky mileage, stairs, or additional stop fees. All we ask is that you check out our great ratings on Google and Angie's List, then go to woodyandsons.com to learn more. Whether you need a full-service pack and move or some extra hands, at Woody & Sons Moving Company, we move you.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to Tampa Home Talk. Also, welcome to some of our other affiliates and our other networks on Starcom. We're happy to have you today. Delighted to have our special guest today joining us for Change Your Morning Routine, Change Your Life, Mr. Hal Elrod. And if you missed any part of the earlier part of the show, you definitely want to check it out in its entirety. One of the best-selling authors, has several books on the market now, and really just life-changing history. Like, you'll probably make an amazing autobiography one day. But for today, as I promised, that's the first segment, we're going to jump into the lifesavers. Like, what are the lifesavers? So SAVERS.
Yes. Ready for me to dive in?
Yeah, well, we're ready for you. This is your show, Hal. You run it.
So the lifesavers, the acronym couldn't be more fitting, because these really are the 6 practices that are virtually guaranteed to save you from missing out on the most extraordinary life that you can imagine. And it's the life that very few people live, sadly, and it's the life that we all have the ability, where if you have a pulse, you have the ability to create anything you want for your life. But most of us, we follow the path that's laid out, go to school, go to college, get a degree, get a job and we kind of give up on our dreams somewhere along the way. And the lifesavers
one thing, Hal, I want to chime in on, and I've heard people say this over the years, and they say, I'm just kind of doing this thing. I'm getting up, I'm doing my thing every day, but I don't really feel like I know what my purpose is. Like, I don't feel like I know why I'm here. And I think the next 6 things that you're going to share might help you find that. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll speak to that real quick. In terms of your purpose and why you're here, it's kind of like the whole everything happens for a reason, but it's your responsibility to choose the reasons. Well, purpose is kind of the same way. Most people think they got to find their purpose. You don't find your purpose. You just make it up. You just decide what you want it to be. And the thing is, it's also, you can have purpose in progress, which means it's always a rough draft. Like, for me, the first time I ever defined my purpose, I defined it as to add value to the lives of other people. And I think that it's nice to have a purpose that's universal, that you can literally filter every thought, word, or action through that purpose. So yours could be to make people happy. So mine is to it started out to add value to the lives of others. Then I added the word selfless, to selflessly add value to the lives of the people. And not because I'm altruistic and, I'm like this selfless, Mother Teresa being. Not at all. Because, though, I wanted the word selfless in there because I really did want my purpose to be pure, meaning I wanted it to be where if someone needed value added to their life, it didn't matter my mood. It didn't matter if it was convenient for me. It didn't matter, right, what I was doing. It was all about literally adding value for others based on when, where, how they needed it, not based on my own selfish, conditions. So that's why I put that word in there. Well, and then, and so beyond that, and that, by the way, a lot of people, my coaching clients, I'll share that with, and they go, "Can I just steal your purpose? Can I use that?" I go, "Yeah, I haven't trademarked it yet, right?" No.
Well, when I first decided to do Tampa Home Talk, my first response initially when I was approached, I said no, I wasn't going to do it because I'm not a radio show host. I'm a real estate agent. That's what I told people. And so then I thought about it, and I sat with it for a little bit, and I thought, you know what, this might be a good thing. And then I started thinking about my purpose and why I do what I do, and why would it be a good idea to host a show. So, the purpose and the mission of our show are very in line with my own. And that's really to help people keep and maintain great credit, to live within their means, and to build wealth. And, our motto is love where you live or we'll fix it.
I love it.
So every day I'm helping somebody do 1, 2, maybe more of those things on a daily basis.
That's great. And that's it. You made up your purpose, right? You made it up.
That's right.
And it might change, right? My purpose might become eradicating the world of obesity. That's something I'm really passionate about. It saddens me. I travel a lot for speaking, and it saddens me going to airports or anywhere and just seeing the obesity epidemic. And, and especially, the bigger thing that saddens me is the kids, right?
Yes.
Kids, and you're like, I sat next to this girl who I think she was 11 years old, and her mom was next to her, and she, she had to have weighed 250, 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And her mom was feeding her candy on the plane. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Anyway, so
I've known a couple kids like that, and you look at them, and my thought is your poor heart, your poor little heart. It's just working in overtime.
Yeah. So that's an example of that might become my purpose. It might get more specific at some point. Right now, my purpose, I guess to really update it, it's change 1 million lives one morning at a time. And there's nothing that I've ever put into the world that I've ever shared or taught or created that has impacted people as deeply and profoundly and broadly in terms of the quantity of people as the Miracle Morning has. And
so the idea is to get up an hour earlier, right?
Or 30 minutes earlier or 6 minutes earlier. I mean, the Miracle Morning, the book. So
I remember reading the 6-minute fast track kind of plan if you didn't have an hour.
Yeah. So here, this will be a good transition into the Savers. I think we already had one, but here's another one. So the Miracle Morning, the book does 3 things I think really well. I've spent, it's been 2 years since the book came out. It is just now. It's expanding exponentially from people all around the world. We have a Miracle Morning community on Facebook that's just made up of like the most positive people. We have like 11,700 members now, and every day about 100 people ask to join from all around the world. I mean, literally, the other day, my mom was visiting the other day, and I was like, "Mom, look at this!" And I took my phone over to her, and I go, "Check it out. Of the last 10 people that have asked to join the Miracle Morning community, it was like Paris, Croatia, Ibiza, Spain."
That's how you know you're making an impact. That's got to feel great, Hal.
It feels great, and like I'm in disbelief. It's just weird. Every day I'm like, I probably get 100 messages a week from people saying how the Miracle Morning, they've gotten off their medication, they've lost weight, they finally wrote a book, they finally started their business, they increased their income or whatever. And I mean, I'm humbled. I'm in awe of it still. I told Ursula today, my wife, Ursula, I said, "Sweetie, I don't know if I'm ever going to get used to this. I hope I don't."
Stay humble. It's a good quality.
Yeah. Like, I hope I don't. I hope I stay this way. So, anyway, so the first thing the Miracle Morning does is it makes an extraordinarily compelling case for waking up early and not just waking up early and checking your Facebook or your email, right? Waking up early and dedicating time. And here's the essence, by the way. Everybody please tune in. This is the essence of the Miracle Morning. It's waking up every day and starting your day by dedicating time to becoming the person that you need to be, that's capable of easily creating the most extraordinary life you can imagine. That's it. It's dedicating time every day to becoming that person, developing yourself into that person through meditation, affirmation, visualization, reading, exercise, journaling. And those are the lifesavers. The first S is for silence. Silence is time to start your day. Most people hit the snooze button. And think about this, by the way. Here's kind of an important distinction about this. If you start your day by hitting the snooze button, well, you're starting your day with procrastination, number one. And that sets the tone for you being a procrastinator for the rest of your day. And I would be willing to bet most of you people that hit the snooze button, which is the majority of people, majority of us, right, they also procrastinate in lots of other areas. Because how you start your day sets the tone for how you live your day. And if you start the day with a lack of self-discipline, because that's what happens. You hit the snooze button, and you're literally you're sending a message to the universe and to your subconscious that says, I don't have the discipline to get out of bed in the morning, let alone go to the gym, work hard, read, do the things to create the life that I want. So the Miracle Morning, the first part of it is that one of the first gifts that life gives to us is the opportunity to wake up with purpose, right, with passion, like to show the universe that, I could hit the snooze button, I could sleep in for another half an hour and hit the snooze button a few times, but you know what? I'm so committed to creating the life of my dreams that how could I possibly choose to lie here unconscious above having this time to myself while the rest of the world is sleeping, no emails are coming, no calls are coming in, I'm up and I'm doing it, right?
It's the difference between, I'm going to get out of bed and, let's get out of bed, it's another day.
Yeah, exactly. So the first part of the Miracle Morning book, it makes this compelling case. It uses a lot of research and evidence of how highly successful people, the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them, they know better than hitting that snooze button. They know better than, it's not even just hitting the snooze button. You might go, why don't hit the snooze button? But what people do is they set their alarm clock for the last possible minute that they can get out of bed to rush out the door, get to work, take their kids to school without getting fired, losing, you know what I mean? Like,
and they're flying.
That's it. I call that a mediocre morning, right? That's a mediocre morning. It's like you don't actually accomplish any sort of growth or improvement. You basically stay the same as you have been for indefinitely. Whereas the Miracle Morning is about being better. At the end of the Miracle Morning, you're better than you were when you woke up.
Right.
And every single day, you start your day by becoming a better version of who you were when you went to sleep the night before. you cannot help but see your results, your life, your income, your happiness, your relationships, everything, anything that you focus on improving and filter that through your Miracle Morning, you can't help but see it improve.
And there's so many details in the book. I would highly encourage any person right now, if you're listening to this show, grab a copy of Hal Elrod's The Miracle Morning, because it really is a profound book. It will change your life. But your S, specifically speaking silence, and you're referring to meditation?
Meditation, affirmations, and real quick, just to let people know where they can get it, Amazon.com is the best place to buy the book. It's not, depending on where you live, it's not in all the bookstores yet and all of that. So Amazon's the best place to get it. And
it's also on Audible, by the way. I'm very much an Audible listener because I spend a lot of time in the car and driving, which I obviously can't read a book. So I end up listening to many of my books.
Yeah, I don't think you can safely read a book while you're driving.
No.
They say don't
not recommended.
Drive, but I don't know if it should be a lot. You also shouldn't read and drive, right?
Right.
So anyway, all right. So the essence for now, meditation, yes, but also prayer. So meditation and prayer. Most people, meditation is a pretty foreign concept, for the majority of people.
And that's something I would love to touch on, because I would imagine for the person listening today, and I read your book and I've gotten comfortable with a lot of these, and I would say that I've continuously grown in all of these areas. But if for someone listening, maybe they've read the book, maybe they haven't, or maybe they're going to go get it and then come back and listen to this podcast. But for somebody settling in to really get each piece of it, if you could just spend a little bit of time as we go through the lifesavers, just helping someone with, like, let's say their big one is exercise, or their big one is silence, or whatever it is. How do you help someone that maybe doesn't pray or doesn't know how to meditate? Where would you suggest that person start?
Yeah, that really is a great question. And the answer is guided meditation. So I still think I've been meditating for years, and I think I'm still not that great at it. I'm like pretty mediocre. And so a lot, and I've tried different. That's the thing about all of the lifesavers is they all take a minute to learn and a lifetime to master, if you will, right? I mean, people meditate their entire lives, and I've heard someone say that it was around their 30th year meditating that they finally felt like they got it down.
So like when you say guided meditation, you mean like you're listening to something that's
you're listening to somebody that's directing you, calming you through. Yeah, and my favorite guided meditation is if you can actually Google it and listen to it free. Or I think it's on YouTube. I think when you Google it, that's where you actually end up finding it. But it's called the 6-phase meditation. So if you Google the 6-phase meditation, you can find it. It's also, there's an app on your iPhone or your Android called Omvana. O, M as in Mary, V-A, N as in Nancy, A, Omvana. And that is, there's all sorts of different meditations there, including, that's where I found the 6-phase meditation. So Omvana. There's a lot of, just search meditation in the App Store and you can find a bunch of different ones.
It's a fabulous place to start, though, because even for somebody like me, I have a hard time with this. Like, I'm comfortable with prayer, but when it comes to meditating, I always feel like I'm doing it wrong. And I'm trying to have quiet time and calm my brain, and I feel like it's wanting to go in 50 million other directions other than what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and let me share this with you, that I'll say this, in a way, there's no wrong or right way to do meditation, but it becomes the wrong way to do it when you're judging how you're doing it. That's actually the biggest problem, Katrina, and I've done the same thing, which is where you actually judge yourself and think, I'm doing this wrong. As long as you're doing it and you're accepting of whatever comes, like when thoughts come in, because everyone goes, I'm supposed to clear my mind and have nothing in my mind, right? And then, that's almost impossible for someone. I mean, you have to be really trained and have lots of experience in meditation to do that. So the point is, my favorite form of meditation is where I just sit there quietly and, here's some different ways to meditate. One is I'll think about something like, I'll think about the feeling of gratitude or of love, and I'll just sit there for 5 minutes and just feel that way. And it's fantastic. It does such good things for your psyche, for your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It's so healthy for you to sit in silence, right? It also improves your cognitive ability, your discipline, your ability to focus. There's so much science behind meditation, and that's why you find that article, Fortune 500 CEOs that meditate. You're like, oh, they're actually doing it because they want to be in a peak performance. Like, they're not doing it because they're they're for a religious purpose or whatever. They're doing it to put themselves in a peak state. I think
so. Gratitude's a fantastic place. Like, what are you grateful for? I love it.
Yeah, and just feel it. And I meditate in front of our fireplace, and above the fireplace is my family picture. So that's always like that's the kind of the spark that lights my gratitude as I look up there and I just smile and I close my eyes and I just kind of ride that feeling.
You think, wow, I could be dead because I did die. Instead, I get this.
Exactly. And so, and I'll tell you this. Meditation for all of us we have such a busy, fast-paced lifestyle. Like, it became my favorite thing because if nothing else, look at it this way, and this is for you too, Katrina. But look at it this way: it's the only time of day where you don't have to do anything. Like, you literally don't have to do anything. You don't have to talk to someone. You don't have to look at someone. You don't have to answer to someone. You don't have to answer an email. You don't have to even move your body. Right? You literally have permission. So if you can sit there and just be. Just focus on your breath. So don't judge the thoughts that come in.
How does one get past that if they have a crazy house like me with 3 dogs, 3 kids? Doesn't matter what time of day or night you're up, somebody's going to be up with you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, for me, when if you wake up and you do your miracle morning at 5 a.m. or whatever, usually it's before the kids are awake. I mean, for most people, what time do your kids get up?
Oh, my goodness. That's the trick question. If I'm up late, it seems like they're up too. If I try to get up early, they're up with me. So I started it, and I kept trying. I'm like, I have no quiet time ever.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I would do is if the kids, if you wake up early and the kids come down, I would put the TV in front, put them in front of the TV or put them in front of some toys or
Lock
whatever.
yourself in the bathroom. That's what I'm hearing.
Say, Mommy needs her miracle morning time, right? So that's and again, prayer. By the way, you literally could not do meditation at all, and you could just have your silent time be prayer. That's fine.
Right.
It's fine. There's obviously a lot of value. Mine's kind of half of both.
And I thought maybe even I would like to introduce this to my kids, so maybe you can write a miracle morning for kids sometime. But anyway.
We will. I've actually started doing it with my daughter. I've started doing affirmations with my daughter, yoga with my daughter.
Oh, my gosh. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hal, I could totally talk to you for like 5 hours and never get bored. So we have to hop into the affirmations.
Yes, the A is affirmations. And affirmations, people ask me sometimes, like, do you have a favorite of the lifesavers? And without hesitation, it's affirmations. And I believe it's the most effective way to program your subconscious mind with the beliefs and the mindset that you need to achieve everything that you want for your life, including things you want internally, like happiness or focus or peace of mind or gratitude or less stress or whatever. So
examples, like real-time examples, maybe when you first started with this and then like now. What's an example of your affirmation? Are you writing on your mirror, you're going to have a glorious day, or like what's an affirmation?
Yeah, so I don't write on my mirror. I type them out, right? And I usually have an affirmation for each of my goals or areas that I want to improve. So I actually, if you picture my affirmations, it'll be like a bold heading, like, goal number 1, sell 1 million copies of the Miracle Morning, right? And then it's got like a little paragraph that affirms why that's important to me, what could hold me back from making that a reality, and what I'm committed to do to make it a reality. So my affirmations are very action-oriented, and I'll tell you, affirmations have gotten a bad rap. In fact, some people listening are probably like, yeah, affirmations are kind of cheesy, or I tried them, they don't work for me, and here's why. Most people have taught affirmations over the years, the gurus or, authors or so-called experts or whatever, they taught affirmations as, to write them like in the present tense, like what you ultimately want, but as if it had already happened. So you say, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire. Problem is, no, you're not, right? If you're not a millionaire, then it's not congruent, and you're literally lying to yourself.
Yeah, you're trying to make yourself believe a lie.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I would never say that's the best way. That can't be the best way. There's got to be a better way than lying to yourself over and over again, hoping that it seeps into the subconscious. So
it's probably a progress, right? Not perfection type thing.
Absolutely. Everything progress, not perfection. And for me, with the affirmations, my affirmation, instead of saying I am a millionaire, and then going, no, I'm not. I'm not even 100,000-aire, or I'm not even, you know what I mean? Is you go. Would be something along the lines of, I'll think back when I was a salesperson, right? I'm committed to making 20 phone calls a day to sell $200,000 this quarter and earn $100,000 in income so that I can reach my annual goal this year of, blankety, right?
Start your goal, work backwards.
Yeah, and so now the affirmations are literally directing your focus and programming your subconscious with what you want, why you want it, and what you're committed to do to ensure that it happens. The other reason affirmations get a bad rap, and then we'll move on to visualization, but is they use like flowery language. Like there's this one affirmation that's like famous, and I'm paraphrasing it, but it basically says, "Money flows to me effortlessly and easily in abundance." Right?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but what the hell is that? Like, first of all, that to me is going to make me less money, because if money flows to me effortlessly, well, shit, then I don't need to work for it because it's going to come into my life, right? So, again, my affirmation would go back to what I just said, right? It'd be like, no, money's not going to flow to me. I've got to create value, add it to the lives of other people so that they want to give me their money, right? Or I've got to perform at my job, right, so that I am compensated based on the value that I add. Something directed toward something in my control, not just hoping it flows to me through the universe. The V is for visualization. Now, visualization, I believe, also it's been taught ineffectively over the years.
So I'm thinking, when you say visualization, I'm thinking mind map, or like a board on the wall or something like that.
Yep,
do I have it wrong?
So there was a movie called The Secret, right? You ever see The Secret?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, The Secret, millions, they were on Oprah, millions of people watched the movie, and it was all about visualization. That was basically The Secret. And the way that it was taught really did a disservice to people, I think. And it's because they teach you to visualize the end result, your goals, your dreams, whatever your ideal outcome is. They say, see it as if it were already happening. And the problem with that, kind of like the affirmation component, is they've actually done studies that show that if you see something that it's as good as done, it's already going to happen, then you literally think that it's just going to happen, like money flowing effortlessly to you. You're like, you ask somebody, hey, are you working towards your goal? What do you do to achieve it? Yeah, I visualize it every day. What else do you do? Oh, well, nothing. I visualize it every day. It's like, well, they're like, it's going to happen. I can see it crystal clear.
So, what would an example of a visualization be? You would take one little minor piece of something you want to improve for the day and visualize it?
I'll give you a very specific example. So, the first half of visualizing is they did get it right, meaning the people that have taught you to visualize your ideal outcome, that is very important, but it's only half of the equation, and it's the least important half. The other half is visualizing the action that you need to take, seeing yourself doing it with joy, confidence, purpose, and seeing it today. So here's what that looks like. So why do you want to visualize the end result? Because every goal, dream, or desire that we have is usually blocked by fear. If you want, I'll give you guys a visual. If you could imagine that every goal, dream, or desire that you have is like a little tiny microscopic ball of energy floating around in your consciousness. And the problem is each goal, dream, or desire is coded. Imagine a little black, dark membrane around that ball of energy. The black membrane is made up of fear, self-doubt, and insecurity. And that traps our greatest goals, dreams, and desires inside it, and they never get out. When you visualize the end result and you see yourself achieving or having achieved the thing that you want to achieve, for those moments, that little ball of energy has manifested into what you ultimately want, and it's broken through the fear and the self-doubt. And now, instead of being a little ball of energy bouncing around your consciousness, now it's a vision. You actually see what it's going to look like. You feel what it's going to feel like. And science has proven that that increases your belief that it's possible. It increases your motivation to make it possible. So that's the first half. Now, if you leave it at that, though, you're screwed, because then you think it's going to happen because you visualized it, and it's not. The second part is visualizing yourself taking the action. So here's what that looks like real time. When I wanted to write The Miracle Morning, I failed in 2009, I failed in 2010, I failed in 2011. It was a goal, and I didn't do it. I let fear, self-doubt, and insecurity get the best of me. Then I had a big epiphany. I was like, wait a minute, why don't I filter the goal of writing The Miracle Morning through my Miracle Morning? Meaning I'll meditate on it every day, I'll create affirmations for it, I'll visualize it. So what I did with the visualization piece is I would spend the first couple of minutes visualizing the book in people's hands, seeing them read it, seeing the look on their face going, oh my gosh, this is changing my life, and just flipping page after page. I'd spend a few minutes doing that. And then I'd see them showing it to a friend saying, this book will change your life, you have to read it. And it does blow my mind, by the way, how much that exact vision is now a reality every single day. all around the world, people are doing that. They're reading it, it's changing their life. They're sharing with other people. But the most important part, so that got me excited. That got me like, oh, I can do this. It's going to be real. I believe it now. The most important part, I shifted my visualization to action that needed to be taken that day to ensure that the vision down the road became a reality. So I would see myself at the computer typing with the look on my face that the reader had on their face. One of, wow, the words are flowing through me onto the page. It's exactly what the reader needs to hear to change their life, right? And that vision was so compelling that it got me to want to open my eyes and start typing.
So now, little steps, whatever you can see yourself doing right this second to get to that big
whatever
step.
Has to be done today. So if you might not want to write a book. Maybe you want to lose weight. See yourself lacing up your shoes, going to the gym, and running on the treadmill. So first, see yourself at your ideal weight. Picture yourself at first, right? Picture the long-term outcome. Picture the ideal weight. See your body the way you want it to be, and then the second part, right, is you've got to visualize yourself lacing your running shoes, going to the gym, and on the treadmill with a smile on your face. If you want to, if you're like when I was in sales, I would have visualized myself having achieved my goal. Then I'd visualize myself making phone calls and actually enjoying the process. So you visualize yourself doing the thing you need to do, which more often than not, we tend to resist doing that thing, right?
Right.
So the E is for exercise, and this is pretty much a no-brainer.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. You might go, well, no, I go to the gym in the afternoon or in the evening. Okay, that's great, and you can continue to do that, but there is absolutely no good reason not to at least get 5 or 10 minutes of exercise first thing in the morning, and there's so many good reasons to do it, in that it shows, it increases the blood and oxygen to your brain, releases endorphins, you think clearer, you feel better, you have sustained energy throughout the day instead of getting that afternoon slump.
So,
right?
So real quick, like 25 push-ups, jumping jacks, whatever floats your boat?
Oh, well, yeah, there's a great app called 7-Minute Workout, and if you have, you go to the App Store, 7-Minute Workout, they probably have a free one on YouTube, but if you go to the App Store, 7-Minute Workout, the third one down in the App Store, there's like a paid one, and then I think a couple free ones. I use the third one down in the App Store, at least on the iPhone, and it's free.
Thank you.
So,
okay, so we only got a few minutes left.
It's a full body workout. So
reading.
The R is for reading, and when I say reading, obviously not like Harry Potter or 50 Shades of Grey or whatever, but reading self-help books. And if you're not a reader, it's time to become one, right? I mean,
or get Audible. That's what I did. I started out listening to Audible.
Good point. Yeah, or you can do audiobooks, or you can do podcasts, right? I mean,
yes.
It really the R, it's reading, but it really could be called, I don't know, education. I don't know what
like self-help, like take something to make you better, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah, so start your day by stimulating new ideas. I mean, and it's literally one of the most important things that we can do is to continue our daily education and learning in the area. You want a better marriage? Go start reading or listening to books on having a better marriage.
Absolutely.
And watch your marriage improve. Want
yes.
to be a parent? Want to make more money? Whatever you want to do, right? And then the final S is for scribing, and scribing is a fancy word for writing, which essentially is journaling. That's the form of writing that I'm talking about. And so my favorite journal is called the 5-Minute Journal, and they make a hardcover version, and they make an app. I use both. But if you go to 5minutejournal.com, I am not affiliated with the company, but I'm a big fan, and
gotcha.
I share what works for me. So
your most effective strategy, Hal, what would you give somebody for a quick takeaway to make these 6 life-changing things and turn them into a habit?
Don't try to make these 6 life-changing things into a habit right away. Here's what you need to make into a habit. This is my challenge, my encouragement for everybody, is you immediately can put the Miracle Morning to work before you even read the book. You can go set your alarm clock back, even if it's just 30 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes, and wake up in the morning and dedicate time to becoming a better version of yourself. That's it. That's all you need to do. And the simplest form is, I would say, wake up a half an hour earlier, exercise for 10 minutes, and read for 15 or 20. That's it. If that's all you do, you are putting yourself ahead of 99% of our society that doesn't do those things, right?
You could start with your fast track, too, your 6 minutes, right? Spend a minute on each?
Yeah. I mean,
gotcha.
You can do a minute. In the Miracle Morning book, there's a chapter called the 6-Minute Miracle Morning, and it teaches you how to do 1 minute on each of the lifesavers.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hal Elrod. We are out of time, but I really appreciate you chiming in. I couldn't thank you so much for being our guest. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. We'll be back same time, same place next week. For this week, we are out.